winding down in Grapefruit League play with opening day 1 week from tomorrow, this afternoon, from the CenturyLink Sports Complex in Fort Myers, Florida. Grapefruit League play between the Boston Red Sox and the Minnesota Twins. And we welcome you to Hammond Stadium. Dick Bremer along with Burt Blyleven again. The Twins have a lot of decisions to make in the next 24, 48 hours as they get down to that 25-man roster, and it's already been a busy last few days.
Yeah, it really has. You have to go back to Trevor May. You know, he was looking for that maybe spot in the starting rotation, but he now has a Tommy John surgery, so the 4th and 5th spot in that rotation still up for grabs. But you'll look at Jose Barrios, one of those guys that was on that list, but he got sent down yesterday, and he's got to go down and get some innings in down in AAA.
And Drew Stubbs notified today that he will not be on the 25-man roster. A little concern about the status of Kyle Gibson. We know he's on the 25-man roster. It's how well he's going to pitch this year that's up for question.
Yeah, you know what? Kyle Gibson 2 years ago was probably the Twins' best starter, but last year it was a frustrating year for Kyle. So over the winter, he changed his routine a little bit. He's now with a little bit of a beach ball and a weighted ball between starts, and so far here in spring training, his program is working.
Well, the Red Sox made a big move in the offseason acquiring Chris Sale. Now, the Twins are happy to get him out of but he's expected now to anchor this Boston rotation.
Well, you know what? David Price on a disabled list, or going to be on a disabled list at the beginning of the year. You look at Rick Porcello, the MVP or the Cy Young Award winner last year. You throw in a Chris Sale, this Boston rotation is going to be pretty tough.
The Twins have a lot of roster decisions to make as they hope to get down to the 25-man roster in the next day or so. The starting lineup today will include guys on that 25-man roster, and we'll have first pitch in just a moment. You call it partly cloudy here. Temperatures expected to crawl into the low 80s. There is a threat of some rain. They need it very badly in this part of the country, but we don't expect anything substantial to hold up play here today.
It looks like a full house here, too, this afternoon.
Typically is with the Red Sox because they're a hot ticket across the way over at JetBlue. And Twins have drawn well here. The Boston Red Sox took batting practice at their ballpark and then took the short bus ride over here. It's a couple miles probably with the traffic on Daniels, about an hour and 15 minutes.
We're not in L.A. now. Wait a minute.
Menards batting order has Dustin Pedroia leading things off. Andrew Benintendi, Mookie Betts, Hanley Ramirez, Mitch Moreland, Xander Bogaerts, Jackie Bradley Jr., Pablo Sandoval, Christian Vasquez. The Red Sox, too, putting most of their expected starting lineup into the lineup here this afternoon.
And that lineup will be facing Kyle Gibson, who has really had almost a perfect type of spring training. As you look around the horn, Rosario in left, Buxton in center, Kepler. Brought to you by Ford. Sano at third, Polanco, Dozier, and Mauer rounding off the infield, and then Chris Jimenez behind the plate here this afternoon, catching Kyle Gibson. And Kyle's almost had a perfect type of spring training. What you want to do is get some good work in. He's worked a total of 22 1/3 innings so far. This is his 7th start of the spring, and really all of them have been very, very consistent.
And the first pitch, a fastball down the middle, strike one. Gibson with a high ceiling there. Despite his year last year, everyone is convinced that he has a very high ceiling and can help lead this Twins pitching staff back to respectability. Pop up near second base in short center field. It's Dozier with the catch, one away.
One thing about Kyle Gibson, Dick, he is a contact pitcher. So if he can get outs like this, 2 quick outs, 2 pitches, that's the type of pitcher that Kyle Gibson is. Now on the other side, the starter for the Red Sox, he's a strikeout pitcher. But Kyle, he relies on ground ball outs and quick outs.
And I asked Kyle about that because down here I've seen him pitch. I think this is the 3rd or 4th time I've seen him pitch in a game. And he's gotten a lot of pop-ups and fly ball outs. And I asked about why that was, typically a sinker ball pitcher. And he says one of the things he's working on here is to try to establish a belt-high fastball to give the hitter something else to think about, with the idea being that if you're down around the knees all the time, eventually these hitters will expect it down there, and he's trying to establish the full strike zone.
Yeah, that's part of pitching. You have to change the eye level up and down. You just can't pitch one certain way. You got to work both sides of the plate, all 4 corners of that plate.
Ball lined to right center field off the bat of Benintendi, and he's got a 1-out single.
Yeah, Pendy having an outstanding spring training for the Red Sox. Young man going to be their left fielder on opening day. Former #1 pick out of University of Arkansas. He's got some speed.
And one thing that the Twins have focused on, well, not so much in spring training because of who they got in the offseason. They focused on it in the offseason. They wanted to have catchers who did a better job than Twins catchers in the past controlling the running game. Jimenez comes to the Twins with that reputation. So too does Jason Castro, the projected regular catcher. Up and in. Called strike, I beg your pardon.
Well, and you know, Kyle Gibson can help a catcher out, do exactly what he did on that first pitch, kind of a slide step. Don't bring that left knee up too far and allow the catcher to make a good throw.
And then if you wanted to rely on the sinker, you've got a candidate on the mound who can get you a double play grounder when there are men on base. Benintendi gets back.
Well, this guy at the plate right here, what a year he had last year. 2nd in the American League in the MVP voting behind Mike Trout. And having a very solid spring training so far. Mookie Betts.
Well, the Red Sox had a very productive lineup last year, and they expect to have that production again this year, even without David Ortiz. And now Gibson shaves the outside corner, and it goes to 0-2.
Yeah, good breaking ball right there. Now ahead in the count. Betts also winning his first Gold Glove last year out in right field for the Red Sox. Rawlings Gold Glove.
That's what's impressive about the Red Sox. Betts, you know, he's been around a little bit. Jackie Bradley Jr. has been around for a couple of years. Benintendi, a rookie. We talk about the Twins' young outfield and how exciting we think it will be to watch the Twins outfielders develop. The Red Sox have a very good and very young outfield too. There's the ground ball. So no double clutches, and they get 1 but not 2. Probably weren't going to get a double play anyway. But once Sano double clutch, that pretty much took care of that.
That ball kind of handcuffed Sano right there. Had a little trouble getting that ball into that right hand to make a good throw. And the throw was high, so Brian Dozier had to kind of stretch as a first baseman to get that force out at second base. We saw some even here the other night that we televised that the infield, I know it's in perfect shape, but we've seen some balls kind of skip and bounce a little differently. That ball kind of came up on Sano.
2 down, and now Hanley Ramirez, their designated hitter. And it will be Ramirez's task to fill a role filled so wonderfully by David Ortiz, with Ortiz retiring. And Ramirez probably, truth be told, should have moved to the DH spot a couple of years ago. He didn't perform well in left field, or for that matter at first base, but now he's their DH, and they've got a potent right-handed bat trying to replace the potency of Ortiz's left-handed bat.
If he can do what he did last year, he hit almost 330 home runs, drove in 111 runs. That's what they're looking out of Ramirez. And, you know, sad to say that David Ortiz time finally came to an end, even though he may have had his best season in his retirement year.
I don't think it'll happen, but if the Red Sox struggle to score runs in the first month of the season, you can imagine the clamor in New England to get Ortiz to come out of retirement. Another ground ball. This one goes through the left side of the infield. A pair of hits for the Red Sox here in the first inning. First and second, 2 down, and that'll bring up Mitch Moreland. Moreland signed this year, signed with the Red Sox as a free agent in early December.
He signed a 1-year contract. Pretty good solid year last year for the Texas Rangers. Has some pop in that bat. Over 20 home runs last year.
Just about 2,500 major league at bats. Hitting in his career 254, 110 major league home runs. And like most power hitters these days, a lot of strikeouts.
You wonder if Moreland will change his swing around for Fenway Park. You know, half of their games are played with that short porch out in left field and left center, and of course so much room out in right field. That so many great left-handed hitters, David Ortiz, one of those, Freddie Lynn, Wade Boggs, all had that inside-out swing to utilize that wall out in left field.
Nice backhanded catch by Jimenez. Well, Chili Davis will, I'm sure, once the Red Sox arrive at Fenway Park, will point to the wall and say, have at it.
Yeah, Chili Davis, of course, the former Twin, part of the '91 World Series, a big part of that, and also now the hitting coach for John Farrell.
Bouncer right side, and Dozier juggles, recovers, and
nice
throws
play.
out Moreland.
Nice play. Didn't panic, as Tom Kelly would say.
Full shift was on, and Dozier made the play, and the Red Sox strand a couple in the first. Twins saw an awful lot of Chris Sale over the years when he was the ace of the White Sox staff, and now they'll face him at most twice this year as a member of the Boston Red Sox. He's had a healthy spring, which is, I think, all the Red Sox are really concerned about.
Yeah, I mean, he's tough, but you know what, the Twins have always handled him pretty well, especially over the last couple of years. But this guy makes his home here in Southwest Florida, and getting a chance to work out here and be part of the Boston Red Sox here in Fort Myers.
Most of the Twins lineup will be in the opening day lineup a week from tomorrow. Where in the batting order remains to be seen, but Dozier, Polanco, Buxton, Sano, Mauer, Park, Kepler, Jimenez, and Rosario facing Chris Sale. And Sale at the knee, strike one.
Yeah, Sale with a good fastball, that sidearm type of delivery, almost Randy Johnson type, and he's got a nasty slider that just keeps breaking.
And a liner to right field over the reach of Dustin Pedroia. The feeling was last year in Chicago that when the Twins pounded Chris Sale the year before, and they had some good games against him again last year, that somehow, some way, he was tipping their pitches, his pitches. And the Twins, as nasty as his stuff is, were able to know what was coming, and as a result, were able to jump on pitches and in many cases knock him out early.
I just find these numbers incredible because Chris Sale in 8 starts over the last 2 years against the Twins during the regular season, 2-5 with a 6.8 ERA. But against everybody else in the American League, 25-12 with a 2.76. So maybe we're the only club that sees what he's doing.
Down the left field line and a hit into the corner. How far can Dozier go? He's on his way to third. The ball stays in the corner, and Dozier will be waved around. Throw to the plate. Out at the plate. And if there were replay, I think the Twins would have a 1-0 lead. Dozier with a head-first slide appeared from our angle, which was pretty good. He might have gotten his hand on the plate, but he's thrown out for the first out.
Well, great relay right there. Great throw. And Dozier a head-first slide, but gets that left hand in maybe before the tag by Vasquez. Let's see. Boy, very close.
Yeah. Marvin Hudson's a home plate umpire. He's a major league veteran umpire. He may have missed one, but Twins, more importantly, are off to a good start swinging the bats. Now, over the past week, I had a chance to interview Byron Buxton and Max Kepler for a Twins fan forum for their season ticket holders. And the questions come from the season ticket holders. And somebody asked the question during the forum. Buxton lifting one down the right field line, and that ball is just foul.
Oh boy, didn't miss by much.
You know, the wind is blowing in from the right field foul pole again, and that one stayed pretty straight down that line. You can see Buxton hitting into this Ford defense. Benintendi, Bradley Betts in the outfield. Sandoval's had a great spring. Bogarts, Pedroia up the middle. Moreland at first. Vasquez behind the plate. So the questions over the hour-long forum are from the season ticket holders, and one of them asked Byron who the toughest pitcher he's ever faced in the big leagues was, and he picked Chris Sale. Max Kepler, who was also on the show, reminded Buxton that last year at the end of the season, Buxton jumped on the first swing against Sale and hit an inside the park home run against him.
You know what? I mean, Chris Sale's that type of pitcher. You have to look fastball. You have to be ready to swing. And I think that's what we saw from Dozier and Polanco and so far from Buxton. Now, Sale ahead in the count. Will he go to that slider or a good changeup?
Up and away.
Fastball out over the plate. Fastball clocked here at 96.
Kepler followed suit. We'll see him in a few at-bats. He said as a left-handed batter, Chris Sale's the nastiest major league pitcher he's ever faced, but the Twins have enjoyed such wonderful success against him. 2-2 to Buxton, hitting third, and we may see Buxton hitting there come opening day a week from tomorrow. Hook foul. Paul Molitor said as much. He said, well, he didn't say he's hitting third, but he said he won't hit leadoff. Saying the Buxton showed enough in September last year with his extra base power that they're going to hit him elsewhere other than the leadoff spot. So it could be Dozier, could be Joe Mauer in the leadoff spot. 2-2. Swing and a miss on the fastball, and Buxton's out on strikes. 2 down. And that'll bring up Miguel Sano.
And Chris Sale over his career has averaged over a strikeout per innings pitched.
Right down the middle, and Buxton swung through it. Polanco at second now with 2 down. And Miguel Sano. Couple home runs, 5 runs batted in, a low batting average, and as we said the other night, a lot of strikeouts here in spring training, and there's strike 1. pitch up, 1-1. As the Twins have tried different combinations in terms of a batting order with what is presumed to be their regular players, this one might be the surest bet. Sano hitting cleanup. Big swing and a miss, 1-2. One and two. Chris Sale to Miguel Sano. Breaking ball low. In the open, we mentioned Sale's going to anchor the rotation. I didn't mean to shortchange Rick Porcello, the reigning Cy Young Award winner, but Sale comes to the Red Sox as a major acquisition.
He signed a 3-year contract, 1 year guaranteed, and then a couple option years for the Boston Red Sox, and he picks up his second strikeout and ends the inning.
Each team with a couple of first inning hits, no runs scored, and we head to the second. Second in a scoreless game. Tickets for the Monday, April 3rd home opener against the Royals are still available. Best seats, of course, going fast. The first 30,000 fans get a Twins long-sleeve hooded tee, courtesy of your local Northland Ford dealer. Help us kick off the 2017 season. Get your tickets today at twinsbaseball.com/tickets or on your mobile device using the ballpark app. I suspect that on April 3rd in Minnesota, both the long sleeves and the hoodie will come in handy. Belt high strike to the leadoff man for the Red Sox in the second, Xander Bogaerts.
And Bogaerts, the shortstop for the Red Sox, but for our WBC Netherlands team, he was the third baseman. So not a lot of spring training at-bats, but he had a lot of them in round 1, 2, and 3. Good player. I mean, what an infield we had with Simmons at short, Bogaerts at third, Scope at second, Profar out in center field, Didi Gregorius for the Yankees.
Now he left with some shoulder problems.
Yeah, he came to our medicine in South Korea with a little bit of irritation in that shoulder, and it just didn't get better. So he went back after round 2, went back to the Yankees, and hopefully he's okay.
And a fastball on the outside corner, 2-2. Bogaerts, Bradley, and Sandoval here in the second against Gibson. Down low.
Change up missing right there. Kyle has two different types of fastballs. The two-seamer that will sink in on right-handers, away to lefties. A four-seamer, outer half of the plate to right-handers, in on left-handers. A slider and then the changeup.
High fly to left field. And Rosario drifts back. One down. Rosario, of course, played right field in the WBC. Will be the not everyday but regular left fielder. Twins are getting some encouragement from Robbie Grossman that his injured groin is doing better. Full workout today. We'll see how he responds. Hopefully we'll get a chance to play in a game or two here in the final week.
Yeah, I talked to Robbie yesterday, actually, and he said he's ready to go.
Hey, how'd that go yesterday? You were actually in a Twins uniform. And,
first time.
There's a little pop-up wide of third. Sano back. And the big man in fair territory makes the catch, 2 down.
Yeah, nice concentration right there by Sano. Yeah, I was in uniform for the first time as a Twin, and I enjoyed it. I threw some batting practice. I threw to Rosario and Buxton and Kepler and also Polanco.
And how's the arm feeling?
Good, feels good. Making a comeback. If they can shorten that mound like they do for batting practice at about 40, 45 feet, I can come back.
What would that do to your curveball, though?
Well, I'd have to have the screen in front of me, first of all.
Okay. Now, in that event, if the Twins have in their back rooms one of your old uniforms, would you be able to fit into one of your old uniforms?
Oh, heavens, no. I got a whole new one. They got Omar, the tent maker, to make me one.
Did they have elastic when there's a base hit to left field? When you were playing, did they have elastic?
No, I usually just asked for bigger pants. Third hit off of Gibson.
Sandoval having just a great spring. He probably had to ask for a new uniform this year compared to the one he wore last year for different reasons. He lost a lot of weight.
Yeah, he sure did. You know, he played in, what, a total of 3 games last year, and then that left shoulder gave him problems. They ended up having surgery in the early part of May that just shut him down for the year. But I think he's on a mission this year. I really do. You know, he paid a lot of money. He was very frustrated last year because of the injury.
On the ground, Polanco flips to Dozier, and that takes care of it. Fly ball out, a pop-up, and a weak ground ball, and a good second inning for Kyle Gibson. Score as we go to the bottom of the second. Group outings at Target Field are a great way to have fun with your school, youth sports team, church, and more. Groups of 25 or more qualify for special ticket discounts and can reserve traditional stadium seats without a deposit. Organize your group outing at Target Field today. You can log on to twinsbaseball.com/group or call 800-33-TWINS. Ask about a Twins Target Field group outing. Dick Bramer, Burt Blyleven here at Hammond Stadium, part of the CenturyLink Sports Complex. Neither team took batting practice on the field. Little focus, I guess, made on the bullpen down there, because down there before the game today, Glenn Perkins had a bullpen session. Glenn's nice enough to join us here in the bottom of the second. Glenn, first of all, generally, how have things gone, and then specifically, how did the bullpen session go?
It's gone well. I've progressed. I think every time out, I've made a little bit of progress, which is good. Probably not quite at the rate that I wanted to, but that's one of those things that is the unknown of shoulder surgery, that everyone kind of progresses at their own pace. And I think the important thing is that I've felt good every time I've gone out, every time I've played catch, every time I've been on the mound. I've felt good, and I feel like I've made progress in those areas. So, it's gone well, a little slow, but I can't complain with how it's gone so far. And then what do we got here?
Dribbling it up the line foul.
Perk, let me ask you now. I read where it's every 3 or 4 days on the mound. Is that what your program is?
Yeah, so I had been going every 4th day, and then last week, I on the day before I was going to throw a pen, I went out and played catch and thought that I felt as good as I was going to feel, and so I threw the pen the next day, and then I kind of went to him and said, let's bump this up a little bit. And it's not speeding up the process. It's not trying to accelerate anything, but just getting on the mound more, getting long toss more frequently, I think is a benefit. And so I wanted to try to just speed up the pace of my bullpens, and so I did that. So today I went on the 3rd day, and I actually threw 5 extra pitches. So I think that's a positive, that I had been throwing 20 pitches and then 5 sliders, and today I went up to 25. I felt good enough to do that. So that's something I think that I can take away from today. And as far as how I felt, every time out it's been better. And today, all the way through all 25 fastballs I threw, felt good. And so that's the positive for me.
And your treatment after, I know myself, I had surgery back in 1990, and I missed all of 91, and it tears you apart not being able to participate. That's probably one of the hardest things, isn't it, to have to watch the game and not being able to compete out there?
Yeah, it is. And last year it was difficult in a different way, because I knew that I couldn't do anything. So I was going to the field, I couldn't throw, I couldn't really participate in any manner. So this spring here, where I've basically been able to do everything every day. I've done the PFPs with the guys. I've done all the bunt plays and all the throwing that we do all the way through it. I chose to continue my rehab down here for the time being, just because I think it's going to be a little difficult for me, where I feel like I can fully participate and then I have to sit and watch a game in the dugout. And so I'm going to stick down here for a while and continue. I think the warmer weather is going to help, and the facility we have down here is nice. So I think it'll be a good thing. But yeah, I mean, it's just it's difficult. It's hard being around and not being able to play, and so that's kind of why, for the near term here, I'm gonna stick down here and rehab, just to be able to focus on rehab, but then not have to think about watching a game and not being able to play, where I feel at this point, all that's holding me back is arm strength and velocity, and so that's the difficult part. Is I'm a lot more into the game now, and then I'm not going to be able to play. So I think it'll be best for me mentally and physically to stay down here for a while.
I know the Twins have roster moves to make. I think they made a couple today, and they're down to 41 players, but with that 60-day disabled list, they can kind of play with that a little bit. Have they talked to you about that at all?
Yeah, we had some discussions, and I don't think there's anything concrete yet as far as where I'm going to head and what I'm going to do. For me, it's mostly just worrying about how I feel, and we've had some talks, and I think as time goes on, it'll get a little more clear what direction we're going to head. But I know that I'm not 10 days away, and I'm a little further than that. So I think it's just going to be here later toward camp how I feel and when I think I can make it back, and if it's prudent for us to go on the 10-day or if I'm going to be closer to 60. And I think that decision will be made in the next couple of days.
It's worth reminding our viewers that Glenn referenced it a couple of times. A 15-day disabled list is no more. Now it's a 10-day disabled list or a 60-day disabled list. Fans want to know, Glenn, and I know you probably can't answer. I mean, it's a cliche in sports, and we all are, as Bert reminds us, we're day to day. But fans, I think, are curious about whether you've got a timetable as to when you'll be able to maybe open it up and trying to throw harder.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of every pen I go out, I try to do a little more, and it's really hard. I've tried, and I mean, even just privately when I'm sitting there by myself or after I throw a pen, to think about when I might be able to let the ball go, when I might be able to face a hitter, and I know that, you know, I threw today, I'm going to throw again on Wednesday, and I know that I'm going to be able to throw that pen on Wednesday. Beyond that, it's so hard to predict. Like I said, I haven't really progressed as quickly as I wanted to, and so that gives me a little bit of reservation as far as trying to plan out that far ahead. But you know, hopefully it'll be you know, a little quicker here than and with throwing a little more often, throwing off the mound, we'll be able to progress a little quicker. But I just can't get that far out. I did that even just coming in to spring training when I had that first day of my bullpen circled, and I wasn't able to make that Friday, and I had to push it back to Tuesday. You know, so you try to have goals and you try to set goals and reach them, but if you get too far out and you don't get there, you know, it's disappointment. And I was, you know, right before camp there, incredibly disappointed that I wasn't able to make that bullpen, even though that was scheduled like last July. You know, it's for a pen in February. So trying to project out that far, it just isn't going to do anybody any good. You know, so I'm just from now until Wednesday, I'm focused on getting ready for that pen and hoping that I go out and am better on Wednesday than I was today on Sunday.
Now, I know one thing, the Twins organization, they want a healthy Glenn Perkins. They don't want you back at 70%. They want you where you can close ball games again.
That's right. And when I met with Derek and Thad, I think it must have been Thursday probably, that was the sentiment. The main sentiment of the meeting was whenever you are ready to come back, make sure that you're ready to go. Make sure that you don't have to worry about a setback, because that's the worst thing that can happen. If I could try to come back early, if I try to come back a week early or 2 weeks early, and it doesn't go well, and then I have to, you know, then you can set yourself back months with that. So it's taking that extra day or week or 2 weeks, whatever it might be, is a better idea than trying to rush it back. And I've pushed this as hard as I can, and I'll continue to do that. And that's why we moved up the frequency of my bullpens, because I feel like I can push it a little bit, and that'll get me back to where I want to be a little bit quicker. But again, you got to be smart about how fast you do that.
Well, I know that you know, you mentioned that you'd probably stay here, and what a great place to stay as far as rehab and the training facility they have here in Fort Myers, Florida.
Yeah, and then it's the bullpens and all those things, and the ability at whatever point I face hitters in a batting practice situation, maybe in a game situation, maybe then in actual games. Everything is down here. It's hard to set that stuff up in Minnesota. The weather obviously is a little touch and go up there, and throwing a bullpen at 10 in the morning at Target Field, you know, when the team is on the road, if it's 45 degrees, isn't a great idea for a recovering shoulder surgery. So being down here in the heat and that is going to help. And again, with the mental side of it, just having you know, the first thing I'll do every day is wake up and
I hope so.
And be in baseball mode. And be in baseball mode. So I think that's the most important thing for my rehab, and so that's kind of why we're going to do it that way. But yeah, everything we have everything down here that we need. They've over the last couple of years here have improved this facility immeasurably. So I think that's a good thing, and it's a good place for me that gives me the best shot at getting back at full strength.
Glenn, with 2 outs and 2 men on base, we'll let you go, and thank you for your time and wish you the best of luck. We'll be heading north on Friday with the team, and we'll wish you the best of luck and be watching with great interest how you're progressing down here.
All righty, guys.
Keep working hard, man. Keep working hard.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right.
2 on, 2 out. That was a nice walk by Chris Jimenez as he extends the inning and fills first base.
You know, again, Dick, you know, something that Glenn's going through, I know when I went through, and it's frustrating when you have to sit and watch and not be able to compete. And it took a while for me, too, to come back, and it's frustrating. And fans look at it and say, you know, why can't he throw 100% again? Well, it takes time for that shoulder to heal.
Here's Rosario with 2 on and 2 out. Now the hit that Park got was a jam shot between the mound and third base, but the other 2 hits in the first inning were well struck. The Twins have sent 8 men to the plate against Sale, and 4 of them now have reached. Yet to score a run. We'll see what Rosario can do against this nasty left-hander. 1 strike. And another swing and a miss, 0-2.
It's got to be tough as a left-handed hitter to face Chris Sale, as it was for left-handers with Randy Johnson, because of where he releases that ball. Most guys are 3/4 straight over the top, but Chris Sale kind of comes almost sidearm, and then that's big sweeping breaking ball. But 2 fastballs so far. There's another one.
Pick off to second, and Park is back. He is not back. He is picked off at second base by Vasquez. Well, looks like Brian O'Nora out there, although he wasn't on the umpiring crew. At any rate, the Twins are done. They lost a runner at home plate in the first inning, and now Park picked off second by Vasquez to end the second.
Mulch 4. Choice 4.
Welcome back. This is a timing play between the catcher and the shortstop as we see no score so far, moving up to the top of the third inning. Vasquez throwing to Bogaerts, but watch Bogaerts right there. Getting that right knee down to where Park could not get back to the bag. Shades of Bobby Grich with the Baltimore Orioles. Nobody did it better than him. And Bogaerts basically getting his body in front, tagging the hand of Park, and for the third out.
And now we go to the third inning, and Dustin Pedroia leading things off. He popped up to Dozier in short center field his first time up. 3 hits apiece for the two teams. Hard on the ground foul. 0-2.
You know, there's a lot of guys in the game you like to watch play. This is one of my favorite guys right here, Dustin Pedroia. He just plays the game hard.
Nice article in the newspaper this morning back home about Brian Dozier and how he has modeled his game against Dustin Pedroia's. Pedroia, not a big man, but a big heart and incredible drive and determination. He's one of my favorite players to watch.
Yeah, former MVP, All-Star, Gold Glove winner.
And like Dozier, in some sense, seems miscast as a leadoff batter because he's got pretty good pop. We've seen Pedroia hit third for the Red Sox. And Dozier typically has hit leadoff for the Twins. We don't know where he'll settle this year. We're talking about left-handed batters and how much success they've had in Boston. Can you imagine, as Brian Dozier has evolved, what damage he would do at Fenway Park with that pull stroke? Fly ball center field. Buxton trots over.
Yeah, good off-speed pitch right there. Had Pedroia way out front to create that pop-up.
1 down, and now Benintendi.
So Gibson has given up 3 hits, all singles, but able to change speeds, and that's a big part of Gibson's games. No walks, no strikeouts.
2 of the hits were ground ball singles. Most of the outs have come through the air. Here's Benintendi. Benintendi last year 105 at bats, where he hit .295, couple home runs, 14 runs batted in. This will be his rookie season. 2017 will be.
Yeah, got his feet wet last year. Had a good year at AAA. Again, former #1 pick by the Boston Red Sox in 2015. So he made it up here pretty quickly.
Pitch is up, 3-0 with Betts on deck. And the outside corner called,
as it should be,
by home plate umpire Jeremy Rehack. We have the umpire listing Rehack as the home plate umpire. Pulled foul.
Good changeup right there.
Marvin Hudson is a second base umpire who made what looked to be the correct call on the pickoff move to second base. Catcher's pickoff move. From 3-0 to 3-2. Breaking ball. It's a swing and a miss.
And the first strikeout for Gibson. It's a way to come back, Kyle Gibson, from a 3-0 deficit.
And now Mookie Betts. Betts hit a hard ground ball to Sano, reached on a fielder's choice in the first inning. "41 players in camp for the Twins with the moves that were made earlier today. And obviously 16 moves to be made."
Oh, good Minnesota math right there. It's quick.
I practiced. Check swing dribbler, foul. Twins open up the season at home a week from tomorrow against the Royals. 3 games at home, then a week on the road. Schedule pretty heavy with American League Central teams early on. Just off the corner. So if the Twins can get off to a good start, and it seems like it's been over a decade since they've done that, the timing would be right. They don't play a game or team out of the division till they go to Texas toward the end of April. Two and two to Betts. Pulled foul right over Eduardo Escobar's shoulder. Gibson trying to wrap things up here in the 3rd inning on his 40th pitch of the afternoon. And it's down and away.
One thing Kyle's been able to do the last 3 starts here in spring training, go at least 5 innings. So I'm sure they're looking for 5, maybe 6 here this afternoon. Pitch count good so far.
On the ground, hit right to the shortstop Polanco. On target to Mauer, and a 1-2-3 third for Kyle Gibson.
Training baseball on Fox Sports North is presented by Quick Trip. Big on fresh, low on price.
No score here in Fort Myers, and a reminder that you should not plan, you should flex plan. You can receive 20 digital tickets and enjoy all the benefits of being a Twins season ticket holder. Flex plan gives you the flexibility to choose only the games you wish to attend, all the way up to first pitch. Learn more at twinsbaseball.com/flex. Eddie Rosario was at the plate when Park was picked off, and with a fresh count, he threatens to bunt and takes ball one. Now go ahead and tell the viewers what you did to Eddie Rosario pitching batting practice yesterday, with Rosario finishing your Netherlands team with a sacrifice fly in the WBC.
We were just kidding around. I threw one over his head, actually behind him. It was about 4 or 5 feet over his head. Last thing I want to do is hit anybody. They wouldn't let me come out anymore. But no, Eddie had some great at-bats, and, you know, like Bogarts, you know, sometimes at WBC, you know, they got as many at-bats probably during games as they would in spring training here.
And again, Bogarts, and to a lesser extent maybe Rosario, they're established players, and they got to play. And that was not the case for Kenny Vargas and Jose Barrios. And nice job by Rosario making contact, and the Twins would love to see more at-bats like that. Now they throw behind Rosario and he gets back. But as these players, still young and still learning, develop, the hope is there will be a two-strike approach once they have two strikes.
I mean, look where that ball is right there. Looked like a slider down and away, and Rosario, as we've seen before, you know, he'll hit that ball sometimes to left field. This time he just kind of reached out and put it into right field. So 4 hits for the Twins first time around against Chris Sale in the batting order.
And a walk. And now Dozier, who started the ball game with a base hit, ended up being thrown out at home. Half swing, strike one. And you look at Chris Sale's numbers, and in his last 2 years, an ERA of 3.41, 3.34, substantially higher than he'd posted in any other year. But then if you factored out what the Twins did to him, his ERA would have been in the 2s where it was prior to that. It really is. I mean, the Twins haven't had the most fearsome lineup in the world the last 2 years, but it really has been a black eye for Chris Sale in his outings against the Twins, of all people, over the last 2 years. Off-speed pitch taken for a strike.
Yeah, big, took something off that breaking ball right there.
Talking with Robin Ventura last year about Sale against the Twins a year before, and Robin says, yeah, we're looking for it. We know there must be something that the Twins have picked up on Sale. Now, was that something you were aware of? I guess for you the deal was sometimes the thought was you'd have your tongue sticking out when you threw your curveball, but I mean, was that something?
I also did it on my fastball, so they can look at. I hope they're looking at see if my tongue is out or not. They might miss the ball.
But you know, in this day and age where everything is on video, and there are literally employees of teams who just look at video. Paul Molitor does it regularly before a game. Looks at video. He's the manager of the team. If there's any little quirk, any little thing that a pitcher might do in his delivery, Dozier strikes out. He didn't get much of a tip on that pitch, and he strikes out for the first out.
Yeah, strikeout number 3 for Chris Sale. You know, there are some clubs that a pitcher just has a tough time against.
Right.
So, I mean, we talked about the numbers. Yeah, in the last 2 years, 2-5 against the Twins, ERA at 6.8 in 8 starts. But against everybody else in the American League, 25-12 with a 2.76.
Yeah.
So sometimes, you know, a club just has your number.
There's Polanco. He hasn't faced Sale all that much, but he whistled a double into the left field corner in the first inning.
I think I said it in the first inning. It looked like the Twins were jumping on this fastball early. I mean, because you don't want to fall behind. He's a strikeout pitcher. He's going to go to that good changeup or breaking ball. He's going to challenge you early in the count.
1-0.
Rosario at first base, not really a threat to run. Looking for a stolen base, it would be his first. An area the Twins are trying to improve a little bit. You mentioned the other night, Dick, that Paul Maurer would like to see these guys run a little bit more.
Slide step and a pitch over the inside corner with Polanco backing away. 1-1.
And run successfully. Twins have attempted 22 stolen bases so far in this spring, and they've been successful 13 of the 22.
You know, it has to be frustrating for the manager who throughout his career had a stolen base percentage of 80. I mean, there were faster players in the league than Paul Molitor, but there weren't many, including Ricky Henderson, who had a better steal percentage than Paul Molitor. He studied pitchers and knew when to go, and looked at the pickoff moves, and etc.
That's what I was going to say. He knew when to go. You know, the count, the pitcher on the mound, how quick he is home. You know, if you're a pitcher and you're a right-handed pitcher and you're about 1.2, 1.3, that's hard to steal against if you get that catcher the ball quick enough. But anything over 1.3, runners may have the advantage of stealing a base. 1.3 seconds.
Sale that time held the ball a long time. Another thing that pitchers will do to try to get a base runner flat-footed a little bit. 2-2. And Rosario goes, and the pitch fouled back. You say when to go. You take an educated guess as to when the pitcher might throw a breaking ball. Sometimes it's in the dirt, even if it gets there on the fly. It's a tougher pitch for a catcher to catch and get a good throwing grip on.
I was watching Chris Sale on that last pitch toward home. He utilized more of the slide step than bringing that right knee up. So he held it, and then see how quick he got release of that ball toward home plate.
Almost a balk.
And Vasquez going out to talk to his lefty. Sale already at 52 pitches. Making his 5th spring training appearance in an A game.
His former team, the White Sox, in full rebuild mode. We got 4 minor leaguers from the Red Sox for Chris Sale. Some people think that the White Sox still are interested in dealing Jose Quintana. That would be fine with the Twins hitters too. If anything, Quintana gave the Twins more fits. Here's a ball driven to right, and making a jumping catch is Betts for out number 2. And that'll bring up Buxton.
Center fielders.
Good at bat for Polanco, who fell behind and flipped a couple of 2-strike fouls and ended up hitting the ball hard. Buxton went down swinging in the first inning. Breaking ball down and in. With 2 outs, Buxton highly unlikely that he would bunt here. But with a pitcher like Sale on the mound, we talked about Buxton's bunting the other night. 2 options here with a third baseman playing back. He could put it up the third baseline, and with a left-hander on the mound, the other bunt. I think Buxton's had more success with that bunt between the mound and first base than going up the third baseline. Here with 2 outs, he'll be swinging away, especially on a 2-0 count.
Yeah, you got to look dead red. Just fastball. Middle in. Vasquez sitting inside.
And now 3-0. Sano on deck.
Sale has 1 walk. That was Jimenez's last inning.
And Buxton green-lighted on 3-0. He drops a base hit into left center field. And the throw coming to second base, and Buxton continues to swing the bat well. So, as befits a number 3 hitter on 3-0, you let him swing away, and Buxton gets a base hit. I think everybody assumed that Buxton, who's hit 9th typically in the major league batting order, would eventually be a leadoff batter, but he may end up skipping that stage altogether in his career and hit 3rd. Here is Sano. Big swing and a miss. Sano struck out swinging in the 1st. What the Twins do here. Vasquez really good behind the plate. We've already seen his arm picking off Park at second. A little chance I would think that Buxton would go with the big man at the plate. You try to come up with a lineup. You imagine Sano coming up with 2 men on base.
Well, I'm just watching Chris Sale here against Sano. I'd be surprised if he throws him something off speed. He's just trying to challenge him right here because Sano's swinging and missing.
There's a hard breaking ball, and Buxton on a delayed steal attempt. I don't know if he saw that ball was going to end up in the dirt, but he ends up at second base.
And that's what you like right there. Paul Molitor, one of the best at that, too, as a player. Watching, make sure that when you take that lead off after that ball's delivered home, be ready in case that ball's in the dirt, and Buxton read that very, very cleanly. So it'll be a wild pitch charged to Sale, allowing Buxton to get in the scoring position. See, everything has been hard to Sano. The fastball, that hard slider.
1-2 to the big man. And a fastball got him. Twins leave 2 more on base in the 3rd, getting a couple of base hits. Still no scores. We go to the 4th. The wonders of technology. Fox Sports Go, an option for you to download the app and watch Twins baseball wherever you may be on your device. You can download the mobile app and take Twins baseball with you wherever you go this year, 2017. And the Red Sox leading off here in the 4th inning. Hanley Ramirez the batter, and he takes ball 1.
Well, Ramirez a base hit in his 1st inning, coming in. Hit a ball between 3rd and short in the left field.
Foul back. 1-1. Ramirez, Moreland, and Bogarts face Gibson here in the 4th inning. pulled foul. Past our cameraman down the left field line. Showing all the range of a statue.
Yeah, right over Don's head.
Yeah. Breaking ball, and a good one gets Ramirez on a check swing.
Strikeout number 2 for Gibby. So good pitch right there. Ramirez definitely looking for something else. Take a look at this swing right here. Good slider, great location.
One down, Sano will swing over to the right side of the infield for Moreland. When Moreland hit in the first inning, Polanco was on the right side of the infield. Now with nobody on base, Sano is over there, and there's a pitch down and in, ball 1.
You know, you mentioned Ramirez last year had a tough time maybe at first, you know, out in left field too at Fenway Park, but what they got in Moreland is a guy that has power, but also he's won a Gold Glove. So pretty good defensive first baseman. You see the shift. Sano almost right up the middle. There's Polanco playing at short.
The reason you do that or switch it around, as we said, Polanco was over on the right side with men on base. You've got a quicker player patrolling one side of the infield rather than Sano, who doesn't have the mobility that Polanco does. So if you're only going to have one guy over there, leave the guy over there that can cover the most ground. 1-2 to Moreland. Chopped foul, another pitch down and in. Gibson had a disappointing 2016. There were some issues in the back of his shoulder. Spent about a month on the disabled list because of that. And this creative, unique way he has of conditioning his muscles and his nerves. And I was talking with him more about that the other day, the whole thing with the playground ball under his arm and the weighted ball and all that. And so he's trying to retrain his muscles and the nerves to have his upper body in perfect throwing motion to take some of the pressure off the back of the shoulder.
Now in the WBC, we did use the smaller version of that weighted ball for our pitchers.
This is something that he tucks under his arm against his ribs, and then as he releases the baseball, the larger ball is released as well and propels forward. The whole idea is to make sure your mechanics are sound. Bounced up the line, and a fair ball. Bauer to the bag, 2 away. I don't know if you've had a chance to see it yet, but
I saw it. I've never seen it before, so it's, you know, that's why you come to a ball game. You see something for the first time.
Whatever works, he says the results have been very good.
Yes, they have.
And I give him credit for this. This, you know, for a lot of reasons, physical and otherwise, 2016 was a forgettable year for Kyle Gibson, and he's conscientious enough to try to come up with some different game plan. What's the old saying? The definition of his insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Well, if something isn't working, try something else. And he's done that. So far, the results have been good. 1 strike to Bogaerts. Just off the outside corner.
Sometimes you have to listen to your body too. I mean, you told me, you know, you told us about the aches and pains he had in that shoulder area, the back issue. Well, he tried to correct that, and that's what this is all about. He's making the adjustment. Good change up right there.
You've been listening to your body for a long time, haven't you?
That's why I drink Coors Light.
1-2 to Bogaerts. Yeah, chopper foul. Jimenez checks with the home plate umpire, make sure he's okay. Well, the challenge will be not just for Gibson, but guys like Irvin Santana, Hector Santiago, to at least threaten the 200-inning pitch mark. Now, don't laugh.
I know.
Gibson last year pitched 147 in the third innings. This ball chipped to right field, and Kepler comes in a few steps. 7 in a row set down by Gibson. 4 in the books for him this afternoon, and we're still scoreless. No score going to the bottom of the fourth inning. It'll be Bauer, Park, and Kepler on a mostly cloudy day here in Southwest Florida. You live down here year-round, and boy, everybody I've talked to has just talked about the drought and how painfully dry it is. It's a political term now, draining the swamp, but that's what's happening to a lot of the real estate around here.
Yeah, we had that
very dry.
We had a couple of years ago, and then of course the summer rains will come, and it'll all be behind everybody.
Green again?
Yeah.
Even the palm trees look thirsty. Here's Bauer, 1 strike. Joe with a bouncer to short his first time up. On the ground, right side, Pedroia knocks it down and comes up firing. Great play, great range to his left. Pedroia retires Bauer, 1 down.
And it's not only the range, it's how quick he gets up and to make that throw over to first base. That's why he's won so many Gold Gloves and such a leader on this Boston Red Sox ball club. Take a look, Joe. Looks like this ball's going to get into right field, but Pedroia dives for it and then pops straight up, and an all-in-one motion gets that ball over to Moreland.
Park takes an off-speed pitch on the outside corner. Park got jammed, dribbled one between the mound and third base, and hustled out a base hit in the second inning. Big swing and a miss, 0-2. If Park makes the 25-man roster, he has to be added to the 40-man roster. For that matter, so does Chris Jimenez. And ball popped up back and out of play. Talked with Glenn Perkins. He might be a candidate to be put on the 60-day disabled list, and that would accommodate one move. It would not accommodate a second move. So if you're of the belief that Park will be on the team and Jimenez will be on the team, well, they've got 2 vacancies they need to create for that to happen on the 40-man roster. Trevor May put on the 60-day disabled list to add Craig Breslow the other day. Breaking ball low, 1-2.
Good take right there by Park.
Park's done everything to reclaim his spot in the Twins' future after a bad year last year. Just off the corner, 2-2. And with Kenny Vargas not on crutches today, but he was yesterday, and he did a little light running today after fouling a ball off his foot 2 nights ago here during our telecast. Fouled back. Vargas, probably the one position player who needed to get some at-bats in the final week, and he won't get those at-bats.
Change of subject real quick. If you watched Chris Sale and also Kyle Gibson so far here, watch their tempo out on that mound. No fooling around. They get the ball, they throw.
Was that one of your messages to your staff with the Netherlands team?
Yeah, actually, J.R. Jurgens took, I think we timed him this first start. He was like 23 to 28 seconds between pitches. So we sped up his delivery, and he pitched a lot better after that. Sometimes you just hold the ball too long, and what it does, your defense starts playing on their heels because there's so much time in between pitches. But Sale, a quick worker, as Kyle Gibson is. Your defense is always ready if you're around the plate like both these starters are.
High pop-up. Right side of the infield, Moreland under it. He's taller than Pedroia, so he'll make the catch. 2 down. Well, the Twins have had some quick workers in the past, and I want to say it was Kevin Tapani who the Twins felt needed to actually slow down a little bit, because Kevin would get the ball and he'd let's get this over with, let's move things along. Mark Burley, the recently retired White Sox pitcher who was an influence on Chris Sale, was maybe the quickest worker of his time. He didn't fool around out there, did you?
No, I felt that baseball was a hot potato. I wanted to get rid of it. Sometimes I didn't get it back either, though.
Hot potatoes can
go a long
way.
Yes, they can.
1-1 to Kepler.
No, I was a believer. I came up with Jim Cotton, Jim Perry, and those guys both were quick. And that's kind of the guys that I mentored and watched. Gibsons, the Koufaxes, the Drysdales growing up. The Seavers, Tom Seaver. No fooling around out there. Look at Chris Sale right back on that pitching rubber, looking for the sign. Shaking off, got what he wanted.
Pulled to the right side, a foul ball. Kepler hit a ground ball to Sandoval his first time up. And Vasquez will go to the mound.
When I am not doing games over the last couple of years, Dick, I have come out to this stadium here in Fort Myers, Florida, to watch a Miracle play, and they do have the time clock. I know baseball's talking about that, about adding a time clock to the major league level, and I like that. I think they should do that. What the seconds would be, that's up for debate, but I think it'll speed up the game a little bit.
2-2 to Kepler. And he got a foul ball, and that stung Jimenez. Well, I always felt for years that if they wanted to speed it up, they could simply make a rule that hitters can't use batting gloves during games, because they are forever stepping out of the box and adjusting the gloves and all that. And then I concluded that, well, if they did that, then players will just find something else to adjust, and I don't think our viewing audience wants to see that.
Well, batting gloves are an important part of hitters. Look right there. Kepler's got
during a
2
game,
gloves on.
If you get 4 at bats, you're going to have what, 10 swings?
You watch Dustin Pedroia after every swing or take, he'll readjust his gloves.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Right.
Just eliminate him. You're going to be in the batting cage?
Oh, you're cruel.
Kepler takes a called third strike, and Sale has his first 1-2-3 inning.
You're nuts.
Baseball on Fox Sports North is presented by Explore Minnesota. Big things are happening. Don't miss a second. Only in Minnesota.
No score. We go to the 5th inning, and Kyle Gibson's out there to pitch to the Red Sox. He's had another good outing here today. And you look at the numbers so far, or from last year for Kyle Gibson, and he wants to improve all of those numbers, including the innings pitched.
Right. You know, the opponent's batting average very high. And that's what we'll take a look at this frame right here of Kyle with that, what'd you call it, a playground ball?
Yeah, tucked in, and the whole idea is, and to see it in motion is really informative in terms of what he's trying to do, but it's to have your arm in the right position when you release the ball, taking pressure off the lower back. Half swing, and count goes to 0-2.
Now, I want to know on the airplane when we leave here Friday, will he have that ball with him?
It'll be on the plane, I would imagine.
Can play some.
It might be in the baggage compartment, but it'll be on the plane, I would imagine. Well, you want to go up and down the aisle and dribble
bounce it? Yeah.
Bradley with a pop-up to Sano down the left field line. Sano actually made a nice play on a pop-up drifting down the line. Bounced up the line. Well, we talked about Gibson and the fact that he'd like to approach 200 innings. Last year you saw 147 and a third innings. And that was second on the team to Irvin Santana, who missed some starts because of some back problems of his own. And Santana led the staff with 101 and a third innings. Then it fell to Gibson.
181.
100, yeah, right. I'm sorry. Yeah. 181 and a third innings. And then Gibson 147 and a third. And then Duffy with 133. Nolasco with 124 and 2/3. And those were the only pitchers who pitched so many as 100 innings for the Twins last year. In fact, it's the highest number of innings pitched. From there you go down to Ryan Presley's 75 and a third.
And you wonder why the bullpen gets worn out.
Goodness. 2-2. And a called third strike with
how about that?
Gibson shaving the corner. 8 in a row.
Yep. And his third strikeout. Changing speeds well here this afternoon. Working all four corners, and right there, good fastball. The inner part of the plate. And Jimenez holding it right there and getting the call third strike.
Pablo Sandoval will hit. He got a 2-out single, continuing to swing the bat well and playing well in the field. And a check swing, it's a strike. Not only is he hitting, driving in runs, for goodness sake, he's driven in 19 runs here in Florida, but he's made every play at third base. Into right field, another hit. And that'll roll to the wall, and Kepler will retrieve it with 1 out. Sandoval has a double.
Yeah, second hit for Sandoval. First extra base hit. Comes with 1 out here in the 5th inning off of Gibson. Well, Sandoval signed that big contract by the Red Sox, and again last year with the shoulder surgery back in early May, disappointing to the Boston Red Sox and their fans. But some weight loss and a new life for Sandoval.
You know, we were talking about the challenge of trying to get pitchers to 200 innings. It wasn't that long ago that 300 innings was the benchmark. Dave Goltz, the last pitcher the Twins have had who threw over 300 innings in one season. He had a 4-man rotation, bouncer right side. 2 away, and on the play Sandoval goes. Jim Cott did it. And I think, didn't you top out at like 270 some one year?
No, I was 325 one year.
Were you really? Well, there you go. You earned your paycheck.
Yeah, it was a big one back then. Thank you, Calvin.
Well, 300 isn't attainable anymore with a 5-man rotation. But it's not too much to ask a starting pitcher to get 200 innings.
I think you look at a club that might be in contention, and what you're looking at is give me 3 starters on your rotation that could give you 200-plus innings, and I think he got a pretty good staff. Nice play by Gibson.
Always one of the better fielding pitchers as he continues and maybe pitches 200 innings or wins more ball games. He might win a Gold Glove award someday.
He needed that 6'6" frame right there to come down with that. Nice play.
No score as we have a pitcher's duel between two guys the two teams will be counting on heavily in 2017. Chris Sale and Kyle Gibson. Paul Molitor hoping that these keys to the season will end up with a much better record.
Yeah, you got to look at starting rotation. They got to be a lot better than, worst in baseball all of last year. And then Sano, finding his home at third base, not in right field. And also, I think Jason Castro is going to help out the staff. Not only the starters, also the relievers. Hopefully have better success.
Chris Jimenez takes a strike. He fell behind in his second inning plate appearance to Sale and worked out a walk. And again, since we discussed it during Byung-Ho Park's at bat, we'll mention it again here. If Jimenez makes the team, he needs to be added to the 40-man roster. And some of that can be taken care of with health matters like Glenn Perkins having his recovery from shoulder surgery. But his competition, Jimenez's competition, this ball hook foul for the backup catcher spot, is John Ryan Murphy.
Now, Jimenez has been around the block. He first came to the big leagues with the Indians back in 2009. He spent time with the Mariners, the Rays, the Rangers, and then last year with the Cleveland Indians again.
And Sale tried to nail that inside corner but missed. Full count with Rosario on deck.
And that's kind of always been his role, kind of a backup type catcher, played some other positions.
Fly ball right center field. Betts and the center fielder Bradley converge. Bradley with a catch, one away. And that'll bring up Rosario.
Chris Sale in his last start came back on the 21st against the Yankees. He worked 6 innings, gave up only a couple runs, no walks, 10 strikeouts in that outing.
Driven hard to left field. Benintendi going back. That's over his head and off the base of the wall. Rosario really stinging the ball after his return from the WBC. Got a couple of hits here the other night and 2 already here this afternoon. Almost like he's trying to make the statement, hey, don't hit me ninth. I'm too good for the ninth spot in the batting order.
Well, he's swinging early, too, and that's nice to see. He's not taking pitches. He's up there being aggressive. Got the first pitch right there and delivering the double. Second extra base hit for the Twins, and they pick up their 6th hit.
We'll bring up Dozier. Single to the opposite field in the first, went down swinging in the third. Earlier we saw Vasquez pick off Park at second base, and that has a lingering effect. Rosario has a decent lead at second base, but he's not going to stray too far away, and that might end up in saving the Red Sox a run allowed. Now Rosario to third base, and Vasquez throws right on the bag. Well, Rosario tried to get a walking lead, but even with that, Vasquez throws out yet another runner.
Well, man, one thing Vasquez does, the ball looked like it's in the dirt right here, able to pick it and then make a perfect throw to Sandoval, who makes the quick tag of Rosario.
Vasquez has now thrown out 5 of the last 6 stolen base attempts here in Florida.
You might have a review on that if, you know, it was during the regular season, because it looked like Sandoval tagged his back foot as the right foot was on the bag.
And as we try to tinker with the game and make some changes along the way, I don't think anybody wants to.
Watch this right here. I don't think he touches him.
Yeah.
Got his left knee.
But I don't think you or I are advocating replay to be instituted in spring training games.
No.
To the left field corner and foul. They are trying to speed things up regarding the replay process. Now managers have 25 seconds to try to decide whether they want to challenge a play or not. That's where things tended to drag, and that doesn't put the pressure on the manager so much as the video guy. Sean Harlan for the Twins is going to have to make his decisions a little quicker. 2-2 to Dozier. And Dozier strikes out. Sale faces just 3 men in the 5th, and he has his catcher to thank for that. Enjoying the ball game down the right field line here. The other day I spent an inning at 9 different locations here at this ballpark and spent an inning sitting down there.
Great place to watch a ball game, also on the left field.
Some nagging injuries for Twins players. The Trevor May thing, a big thing, as May was hoping to win a spot in the rotation. A-Ray Adrianza pulled an oblique yesterday, and he is day-to-day. That's a tough injury to have the last week of spring training. And then in addition to that, you saw Kenny Vargas fouling a ball off the top of his foot. Was on crutches yesterday. Robbie Grossman's doing better. He had a pulled groin about a week ago and hasn't been able to do much, but he took full BP today. And the hope is he'll be able to get in games here before the end of the week. Every team's concerned about injuries in spring training, but boy, those obliques and fouls off your foot and all that, those are tough ones for a player to have with a week left when all the cuts have to be made.
Yeah, just nagging injuries. Camera time.
Okay. Strike called. 2-2.
I think that's Bogarts.
Right down the middle. Benintendi strikes out for the second time. Gibson sailing along here. One down in the sixth.
Picking up his fourth strikeout. It's been impressive about Kyle Gibson so far this spring. It's the fourth straight outing that he has worked 5 or more innings. This is his sixth inning, but also the way he's changing speeds. And the first 5 innings, he threw a total of 69 pitches. That is awesome. That's where you want your starter to be, somewhere in that range after 5 innings.
That would suggest you could go 7, maybe 8.
Right.
Heaven forbid, maybe even a 9-inning complete game.
What is that?
Wookie Betts the batter. 1-0 from Gibson. On the ground, Sano has it. And fires across to Mauer. As we said the other night when Sano committed an error, there's no question about his arm strength. It's one of the strongest arms at third base I've ever seen, but it is the accuracy. That time a head-high throw across to Mauer. You like guys over there to be strike throwers and not turn your first baseman into an acrobat.
Well, it's almost the same play as the other night.
Right.
He did the little crow hop, set himself up, but then airmailed that throw over Mauer's head right there. Good, strong throw.
For the game today, Sano was over at third base working on his throwing. Over on the Tom Kelly field here. The short field adjacent to the grandstand area. And Gene Glynn was hitting him ground ball after ground ball, working on his throwing mechanics. And it's not just one mechanic. I mean, the mechanics are different when you go to your left, different when you're backhanding, different when you're charging. Big swing and a miss. That's why, the mistakes that Sano made last year, once they moved him in from the outfield, I tended to give him a pass on some of that because he didn't take any ground balls at all. Didn't work on his throwing from third base in spring training at all. This year, he's had the benefit of, working there and there only. Now see how he fares with this one. And
right on the mark.
Played the big hop through chest high to Mauer, and another 1-2-3 inning for Kyle Gibson. Presley gets loose. Looks like he'll pitch next for the Twins. You can follow Twins baseball live with the MLB.com at-bat mobile app. Stay connected to the game's best players all season long with Game Day, live game video highlights, radio broadcast stats, news, and more. Download MLB.com at-bat today, your #1 app for live baseball. And we'll have a lot of live baseball for you starting on Monday. Anxious to get the regular season started. Joe Kelly will pitch next for the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah, good job by Chris Sale. 5 shutout innings, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. He did give up 6 hits, a couple doubles, 4 singles. And Joe Kelly coming in. Part of the bullpen this year for the Boston Red Sox. Last year had some shoulder issues, but that's behind him, they say.
Over the inside corner, strike 1. Polanco, Buxton, and Sano scheduled to hit here in the Twins' 6th. That's just wide of the bag at first. Mentioned it the other night when the Orioles were here. Of course, teams from outside the American League Central. The Twins face them just once each there, home and away.
I think there's a 4-game series in
at Fenway Park again. Yep, at the end of June. And another foul ball. And as soon as I find it here, the Red Sox will come to Target Field in the first weekend of May. Two strikes to Polanco. Down and in with a breaking ball.
A hard slider right there by Kelly. Kelly, this will be his 4th season with the Boston Red Sox. He did some starting over the last 2 or 3 years for him, coming over from the St. Louis Cardinals back in 2014.
Smothered by Vasquez. 2-2. Polanco's hit the ball hard twice to the left field corner for a double in the first. And he lined out to Betts in right field his second time up. Another breaking ball in the dirt. Kelly's giving Vasquez a workout. Three and 2 to the leadoff man in the Twins' 6th. And he walked him. Leadoff walk to Polanco. And that'll put Buxton in the box with a man aboard.
Batters the center fielder, Buxton.
And Polanco can steal a base. And we talked about Buxton's bunting ability. This might be a chance here for Buxton to do that. And even if he is thrown out at first, Polanco would be standing at second. Taken low, ball 1. And a strike on the outside corner.
Yeah, Kelly, pretty quick home right there. I mentioned a couple innings ago about how a reliever or a starter or pitcher delivers home, and Kelly utilizing that slide step. Jeff Smith, the first base coach over there, with a stopwatch. They kind of tell Polanco how quick he is home.
And now down and in, Kelly's having a hard time throwing strikes. 2-1.
And Smith also helping Polanco read the signs from Gene Glenn over at third, the third base coach.
I'll bet you Polanco takes off here, and we'll see if Buxton tries to push the ball to the right side on a hit and run. And a throw to first, and that ball gets by Moreland, and Polanco can't advance. It's the second time we've seen the carom on an overthrow at first base bounce not up the line as you normally see it, but almost back to the first baseman. It happened here the other night with Joe Mauer at first.
Yeah, they have that padding down the foul lines here, and you wonder where it hit the padding. Maybe hit right on the edge or something and ricocheted back toward the infield.
That should have been.
Sometimes it'll carry them out toward right field.
Polanco doesn't go, and Buxton swings and misses. 2-2.
That fastball clocked here at 98.
The plate 3-2, and we'll see if Polanco takes off here.
Yeah, just looking at Kelly's numbers, 2 years ago for the Boston Red Sox, he made 25 starts. He won 10 ball games last year. I mentioned the shoulder issues he had. He made 6 starts, 20 appearances overall. So a former starter now in the bullpen for John Farrell.
Vasquez behind the plate, of course, still has that great arm that he's shown off a couple times. Polanco doesn't take off, and it's ball 4 to Buxton. Well, that time the catcher may have kept the runner at first, but now back-to-back walks by Kelly, and there are 2 men aboard for Sano.
Vasquez out to talk to his pitcher. Get him back in the strike zone. Also, what sign they're using with a runner at second base.
Sano with 2 strikeouts today, and he literally has struck out about half the times he's come up in spring training. So a situation here where the Twins hope he can center something and drive it hard someplace. At the very least, make contact. Speed on the bases with Polanco running well at second. Of course, Buxton and his great speed at first. Breaking ball on the outside corner.
.25 home runs last year for Sano. Has 2 so far here this spring.
And a foul tip, 0-2.
That's a mighty swing.
97 miles per hour, and Sano only got a piece. Just off the corner. He didn't miss by much.
No, he did not.
98 miles per hour, and he nearly singed the corner. Now 1-2. Vasquez gives some signs.
Let me see. Vasquez looked like he wanted that ball up, but tried to bring that glove back in. Maybe missed by an inch or two.
Now in the dirt, 2-2.
Well, you'd have to guess another fastball here. Doesn't want to go 3-2.
Lifted foul. I think what we're seeing here, though, too, Kelly's struggling to throw strikes, but what a really good defensive catcher can do. You could argue the point that Polanco and Buxton are the two fastest guys on the team. They're not going anywhere. I mean, Vasquez has already, picked off a runner at second, thrown out a runner at third. And now a full count. And we may find out here whether that point is valid or not with 3-2.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they're taking off.
I would
here.
too.
Yeah.
But again, it's
a strikeout victim,
right.
And I'm surprised they haven't thrown him more fastballs here. A couple breaking balls to get the count to 3-2. Only because what Chris Sale did, he struck him out twice on high fastballs that were 95, 96. Kelly's been 97, 98. And he misses wildly with that, so he walks the bases loaded.
And they're all loaded up now for Joe Mauer.
And the train, Carl Willis, the pitching coach, coming out to try to settle down his hard-throwing right-hander.
Well, Polanco's not the easiest guy to walk. For that matter, neither is Buxton. And Sano, that 3-2 pitch wasn't close. Sano's not going to swing at that.
Yeah. I go back to the 2-2 pitch, Dick. They were throwing a fastball by Sano, so he tries to trick him with a slider and misses down and away. Now he puts himself into a 3-2 situation and just airmailed it up and away. Kelly making his 8th relief appearance. He's given up a couple runs in the 7 innings he's worked so far. That was a couple outings ago against the Astros. And pretty good numbers for Joe Mauer over his career in this situation.
Bases loaded, nobody out. Red Sox playing the infield back in a scoreless game in the 6th. Missing inside. One and 0 to Mauer. Bouncer to second, should be a double play. A run will score. And no run batted in for Mauer, but Polanco does come in with the game's first run.
Well, pitcher's best friend in a situation like that. Now see if Joe Kelly can work out of this, as Buxton is at third now with 2 outs.
And Byung-Ho Park will hit. Buxton at third. Over the inside corner, strike one. Park with an infield hit and a pop up to first. And now off the plate.
Yeah, Park came into this ball game with 4 home runs this spring. That leads the Twins.
Almost to the backstop.
Just a bit high.
Well, this has not been an encouraging outing for Kelly, who's been all over the place and has shown absolutely no command of anything.
Yeah, what you don't like to see is what's on that screen right there. 25 pitches already.
And what do you think? A dozen strikes, maybe?
Yeah.
10 strikes? On the ground, Sandoval fields. And somehow he gets out of the inning, having allowed just the 1 run after loading the bases with walks. Nothing Twins as they scratch a run across in the bottom of the 6th inning. And we invite you to join the Twins Major League Baseball new era as we celebrate. No,
couldn't have dandruff on.
We're wearing caps, and Major League Baseball wants you to wear a cap on opening day. It's #CapsOn. When you take a picture of your cap on opening day, tune in to all the opening day action April 3rd on ESPN, MLB Network, MLB.com.
Look good in that hat.
You know what? I want to take a picture here. I want to take a selfie to send it out on social media, okay?
There we go.
Ready? All right, I'm going to tweet that out here.
Get Rod over there.
No. He doesn't have a Twins cap on. Otherwise, I would. Ryan Presley into a pitch for the Twins here as we go to the 7th inning.
Yeah, great 6 innings for Kyle Gibson. No runs allowed, no walks, 4 strikeouts, 6 shutout innings for Ryan Presley. He's had a very good spring. Making his 8th relief appearance. He's given up only 1 run in 8 innings.
Down and in, 2-0. More than any other Twins pitcher, it was Presley who bore the brunt of the short workload by Twins starters last year. He had to pitch in many more ball games, many more innings than they would have liked with him coming back from his injury a year before. But he was able to persevere through all that, put up decent numbers. I think the presumption is if they can be more protective of Presley and all the guys, that for the returning members of the bullpen, their numbers will be better because of it.
Yeah, Ryan, last year 72 ball games, ERA at 3.70. And it's hard to, you could have 1 bad inning as a reliever and that ERA shoots up there, but I think he did a great job. Ball's behind here to the first hitter he faces, Moreland.
And this is low with a fastball.
First 6 innings, that mound was really good, but over the last, inning plus, it's tilted a little bit.
And Presley, despite the high workload, was able to minimize walks. And I think the Twins imagine a much improved bullpen this year and beyond, and Ryan Presley figures to be a big part of that.
23 walks in 75 and a third innings pitch.
First base is 62, Steve Selsky.
And Selsky, the pinch runner, with Moreland out of the game. And the batter is Bogaerts. And that in the dirt, or actually is a strike call, and Jimenez didn't field it cleanly.
Well, Ryan has a good fastball. He has a very good, outstanding curveball. He'll mix in a slider and a changeup. Slider's like a cutter. Straight over the top, right-hander. See how quick he is home. See, he has that high leg kick, so probably 1.5, 1.6 home. And see if the first base coach helping out. Selsky.
Ruben Amaro Jr., first base coach for the Red Sox. 1-1 to Bogaerts. Smothered by Jimenez, and it's 2-1. Well, so far, 7 pitches for Presley and only 1 strike. Two and 1. The Boston shortstop. Presley really fighting it out there. And Jimenez will hand deliver a new baseball. Presley, having just seen Kelly issue 3 walks to start the top of this inning. Can't seem to find the strike zone here in the bottom of the inning.
Where you have to rely on that fastball outer half of the plate. Bogaerts looking for something probably middle in that he can drive somewhere. Jimenez will sit outside.
Runner goes, and it's ball 4. 9 pitches, 1 strike for Presley, and the tying runs at second. You know, in yesterday's game up in Sarasota, I might have gathered that you did not go up to Sarasota to see the night game with the Orioles.
No, I had to throw BP here.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Cole Stewart got an inning, and I don't know that Cole Stewart needed to be reminded, but he found out that you can have great stuff, but if it's a 3-1 count to major league hitters, even a 94-mile-per-hour fastball is a cripple.
Yes, it is.
And, you know, now here's Presley, who doesn't need to be reminded of that. He just can't seem to throw strikes.
And that's what Neil Allen's out there right now, trying to get him back in that strike zone, as Carl Willis did with the bases loaded, nobody out. And he said the right words to Kelly because he worked out of that situation and only allowed 1 run. See if Neil Allen can use those same words.
Running at first base for the Red Sox, number 17, Devin Morel.
Jimenez going out in front of a home plate, putting on a play.
Pinch runner at first base as well. Marrero is in. Devin Marrero. Bogaerts out of the game. Jackie Bradley Jr. will bat. And what in the world's wrong with Ryan Presley? Again, last year, 75 and a third innings, only 23 walks, and a handful of those were intentional walks. But he has thrown 10 pitches, and so far just 1 strike.
And Bradley doesn't show like he wants to bunt. There's a breaking ball. Well, he was missing with the fastball, came back with a breaking ball.
One and one. And another breaking ball hammered foul. And it is a quick breaking ball. You can back it off in terms of velocity, but we saw Ryan last year pitch in the upper 90s. Never quite hit 100 miles per hour. But, you know, a breaking ball, that one was clocked at 90 miles per hour. Luke Bard warming up. Hook foul.
He left that breaking ball up.
So 3 straight breaking balls after he's apparently unable to throw his fastball for strikes. See if he throws him another breaking ball here on 1-2.
Boy, they go fastball in. Watch Jimenez behind the plate. Where's he going to set up? Move late. Another breaking ball. And a big strikeout for Presley as he gets Bradley to chase a pitch out of the strike zone.
Jimenez with an effective block. This ball landed just on the other side of home plate, but that's where he wanted to throw it, right?
Yep, you tighten up that breaking ball. You have to have confidence that your catcher will do exactly what Jimenez does right there, and that's keep it in front of him.
There is Sandoval. Nothing put in play this inning. 2 walks and a strikeout. And Sandoval, I'm sure, paid attention and saw 4 straight breaking balls out of Presley's hand. There's a fastball off the plate. At 96. Can't throw the fastball for a strike. 2-0. 4 years ago, Presley was a Rule 5 pickup from the Red Sox. Twins have another one of those guys, a guy you worked with a little bit yesterday.
Justin Haley.
Duno. Fouled away. So, having worked with Haley in the bullpen, what'd you think?
He's got good stuff. He, throws across his body. He's still able to get out front and create. He's got a very nasty splitter. Good curveball. Fastball, I'm going to guess now this was just a side piece, but
right.
I think he can get that fastball in the mid-90s.
2-1 to Presley.
Being away, I haven't really seen him pitch in a ball game. So.
Breaking ball spun back into the press box.
I think Sandoval would like to have that one back. That was a hanger right there. There's number 94, Luke Bard.
Saw him pitch the other day. And Jimenez and Presley talking over about, well, you can't really say pitch sequence because he really hasn't shown the ability to throw the fastball for a strike. And first Bradley, and now Sandoval kind of sitting on a breaking ball. 2-2 is the count.
Does he go back to the hard breaking ball? Well, he tried to. He left it up.
3-2. Vasquez on deck. 20th pitch for Presley. He struck out Bradley with a breaking ball in the dirt.
Something off speed, looked like. At the changeup at 92. Took something off the fastball. Back-to-back strikeouts for Ryan Presley.
Christian Vasquez.
2 walks, 2 strikeouts, and now Vasquez.
Bless you.
Excuse me. Called a cough switch, and it's not meant to filter out sneezes, apparently. Driven to left. Hit well. Up and gone. A 3-run home run on the first pitch to Vasquez.
Boy, you know, you battle to get a couple strikeouts, and then you make a mistake on Vasquez, and all of a sudden those 2 walks end up scoring. Vasquez with his first home run here this spring. Big 3-run home run gives the Red Sox a 3-1 lead.
First ball put in play this inning, and it was knocked out of play. This ball down and in, and Vasquez was sitting on it. Here is Sui Lin.
He took over at second base for Dustin Pedroia.
And a fastball for a strike. Twins got a run in the top of the 7th without a hit. The Red Sox got 3 runs so far on just 1 hit. Two and 1. Driven to left. And nice running catch by Rosario coming in to make the play. 3 runs for the Red Sox on the Vasquez home run. Nobody sees sports quite the way Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock do. The brains to know and the guts to say. Catch Colin and Jason as they team up for FS1's daily sports talk show. Speak for yourself. Weekdays at 4 p.m. Central. Mostly cloudy day here in Fort Myers. Twins have a road game tomorrow. Another home game here on Tuesday. And we're on the air again Tuesday.
Yep.
And they finish up the exhibition schedule with a game against their AAA roster on Friday and then fly home. And Fernando Abad Comes into the ball game for the Boston Red Sox. Of course, a year ago, he was with the Minnesota Twins.
Yeah, he appeared in 79 games for the Twins, a 2.65 ERA in those 39 ball games, and acquired by the Boston Red Sox for right-handed pitcher Pat Light back on August 1st.
Light no longer in the Twins organization. He got some major league time with the Twins last year. Here's Max Kepler to start the home half of the 7th inning. Kepler with a swing and a foul. Kepler with a bouncer to third and a strikeout. Popped up here near the Boston dugout, and Vasquez over for a look. And a catch, one away. And that'll bring up Chris Jimenez.
That's the catcher, Chris Jimenez.
The Red Sox, when they break camp, they will do kind of sort of what the Twins did last year. They will go to Washington, D.C., confer with our nation's leaders, and play a couple of games against the Nationals, one of them at Nationals Park and the second one at the Naval Academy in Bethesda.
Against the Nationals also, I take it?
I guess so, yes, yes. Down and in a ball. I'm sorry, I should know this. I was there. Took a tour there a couple years ago. It's in Annapolis, the Naval Academy. Rolled on the ground, foul. One and two to Jimenez, and Rosario will bat next. The Twins dealing players as they fell out of contention early last year. Light coming to them as a project, and it didn't work out very well. Here's a ball hit hard to left field, but retreating as Benintendi to make the catch. Jimenez is out number 2. The other trade that the Twins made last year may pay off big time for the Twins. Now, they traded a really good player. In fact, their all-star player last year, Eduardo Nunez. And they got a guy who's very much in the hunt for the 5th starter spot, Adalberto Mejia. We did my first telecast down here a couple weeks ago against the Cardinals, and Mejia was very impressive. He's continued to pitch well for the Twins down here, and it looks like right now as if it will be Tyler Duffy or Mejia as the 5th starter.
Yeah, both yesterday played a B game early in the morning, and both started.
Duffy against a Double-A team and Mejia against a Triple-A team. And Mejia probably a long shot to make the team coming into camp, but with Barrios out because of the WBC, Trevor May blowing out his elbow. 1-0 to Rosario, pulled foul. Suddenly there were important innings to be pitched by Mejia, and he's taken advantage of the opportunity, and that's what you really like to see. Some players don't or can't take full advantage of the opportunity they're given down here in February and March, but Mejia, I think whether he makes the team by Friday or not, I think the presumption is he's going to be pitching for the major league club sometime this year. And Rosario takes 2-1.
Oh, you look at minor league numbers of Mejia. He's always a starter for the San Francisco Giants in their minor league system, and then he got traded over. The only appearance he made last year, you know, one game out of the bullpen. That was it.
That's to center.
Got to get down.
And down for a hit. Bradley got kind of a slow start at that one. It's a tough ball to play because it was hit right off the end of the bat. Here comes John Farrell to make a pitching change.
The center baseman, Brian Dozier.
Another hit for Rosario, 3 of them in the ball game here today.
Yeah, I say as an outfielder, you pause for a split second, then you react to the ball, and by the time Bradley could get there, it falls in, and Rosario picking up his 3rd hit.
And so Abad comes out. Faced a left-hander Kepler, Jimenez, and another left-hander Rosario. And Matt Barnes will pitch next for the Red Sox. And while he's warming up, we have words of interest for
All
you.
right, I'm looking forward to it.
You can go to foxsportsnorth.com and follow the hot tweets of the week. And a touching tweet by Kathy Viola, who tweeted that Frank, the AAA pitching coach for the Las Vegas AAA team for the New York Mets, is going to change his number from 16, which he wore as a player with the Twins, to number 34 in honor of Kirby Puckett.
Yeah, about 30 years ago, that Big Puck was, of course, a big part of the '87 World Series championship team.
And I cannot believe that. And I don't know if it's any different for someone who is actually in uniform, but my memories of '87 are so vivid, it can't be 30 years ago already, can it?
Unbelievable, no.
My goodness, do you realize that the Twins have almost played as long now without their 3rd World Championship as it took them to get their first one? So we'll hope that changes in a hurry. 3-1 Boston.
Well, it'll be a nice reunion the Twins will put together at the end of July, toward the middle part of July.
Right. End of July, you'll be going to Cooperstown again, right?
The other celebration, yes.
Well, Barnes will face Brian Dozier, who got a single off Chris Sale in the first, and since then has struck out twice. Since he's come back, Rosario's played, I think, just the 2 games, and he has a total of, 6 at-bats, hitting 9th, and he's got 5 hits. He's at first with 2 down. And they pitch out, ball 1. That kicks away from Vasquez. He can't find it. And Rosario will take a big turn at second base. So a wild pitch and a 2-0 count to Dozier. Well, you might think to yourself, you know, it's the end of March. Teams are just kind of playing things out. And what's really at stake here? What's at stake this afternoon is the lead in the Chairman's Cup. Used to be called the Mayor's Cup, but now it's the Chairman's Cup. And right now, the series between the Red Sox and the Twins is tied at 2 apiece. There's one more game,
only one left, right?
Which gives you some idea how important it is when they schedule an even number of games.
An even number, yeah. Can you cut this cup in half?
I think it's kind of in pieces already, based on the last time I saw it about 8 years ago. 3-0 to Dozier. Polanco on deck. And a strike over the inside corner. It's not quite carried with the reverence, or transported with the reverence, of the Stanley Cup, which, you know, has a protective case and is treated very gingerly, as it should be.
So you're thinking more shoebox type effect?
Have you seen it lately?
No, I haven't.
Dozier chases upstairs 3-2. It looks to me, last time I saw it, this was like 7-8 years ago, like they tie it to the bumper of the team bus going back and forth from here to JetBlue. Full count to Dozier.
Do you think the players on the field know what's on line here?
No. I'm going to explain away Ryan Presley's control issues with just the, pressure of trying to pitch with a 1-run lead for challenge.
There's a base hit
to left field. And rounding third and heading home. Rosario scores. It's a 3-2 game. And Dozier on a 3-2 pitch hooks one into left field.
Yeah, got a high fastball right there and lined it into left field.
And Dozier replaced now by Tommy Field as a pinch runner. Jorge Polanco will bat. Polanco with a double, a line out, a walk and a run scored. Down and in ball one. Tommy Field aboard. He's had a really good spring training and has hit for some, at least I think to many, surprising power. Represents the tying run here. He's at first with 2 down. Twins out hitting the Red Sox 8-5. Up and away, 2-0. Outside 3-0. Santana, Danny, is on deck. He would hit for Buxton. And if he doesn't hit this inning, he'll probably still take Buxton's spot in center field. On the outside corner, 3-1. Twins 16-11-2 in spring training play. And I think Paul Molitor would agree, as we discussed the other night. You have a horrible year like the Twins did last year on the field. That doesn't end at the end of that season's regular season. There's a lingering awful taste that carries through the offseason. There goes Field. The ball popped foul over the screen. So you really don't finish a poor year like last year until the next year gets started. And I think there's, because of that eager anticipation to get the new season started a week from tomorrow.
Well, it's a new year, and I know these guys in spring training, when you come into spring training having a year like they had, you have to throw it out the window and say, okay, that was yesterday, today's a new day. And that's the attitude these guys have. They've been working hard, Paul said, in spring training. Everybody's putting extra time in. All these young kids.
Field goes again, and a breaking ball to call third strike. And I don't think Polanco's convinced. Twins get one back. It's a 3-2 game as we go to the 8th. Stadium, part of the CenturyLink Sports Complex, renovated. Gorgeous, highly recommended for families who want to come down and catch some outdoor baseball in March. So many kids here on spring break. And the Red Sox have a 3-2 lead. Wholesale changes for the Twins in the field and on the mound, where Buddy Boshears hopes to have a clean inning. Twins effectively adding Craig Breslow to the 40-man roster a few days ago. And Boshears, Taylor Rogers, Brian O'Rourke's had a nagging injury, and so he's been kind of taken out of the mix in the short term.
Yeah, Buddy Boshears making his 9th relief appearance this spring in an A game.
Benintendi the batter. A single and 2 strikeouts. There's a drive deep down the right field line. Kepler watches it leave. A home run for Andrew Benintendi. And those are notable at-bats when Boshears, who did okay against lefties last year, gives up a home run to a left-handed batter.
Well, Boshears last year only 3 home runs allowed in 36 innings pitched in 37 ball games.
Last year, Boshears gave up a .241 average to left-handers and .253 to righties. Here's Mookie Betts, and there's ball 1. And a base hit to left, out of Sano's reach. And Boshears greeted by a couple of hits.
And Betts picks up his first hit. And will be pinch run for at first base.
Batting for the Red Sox, number 59, Sam Travis.
Doing the same thing you are, pardon me.
Yeah, this is a tough time of the
trying
game.
to get the score sheet updated here. Shuck, Santana, and Kepler across the outfield. Sano, Gonzalez, Field, and Haig. The infielders, Rodriguez behind the plate, and Boshears on the mound.
And this is Sam Travis at the plate. Number 59.
Hitting where Ramirez had been hitting. Dug out nicely by Rodriguez. 1-1. And we mentioned it the other night, too, as the Twins look forward to left-handed relief help. Tyler Jay, their #1 draft pick of 2 years ago, has been converted to reliever. Drive to right field, the 3rd straight hit off of Boshears. 1st and 2nd, nobody out.
Running at second for the Red Sox.
And now Selsky will hit.
Batter number 62, Steve Selsky.
Selsky entered the game as a pinch runner after Moreland walked to start the 7th. Kyle Gibson with 6 shutout innings. And then uncharacteristically, Ryan Presley ran into control issues, and Red Sox got a big 3-run home run to turn the game around. Ball 1. High fly to deep left field. Going back is J.B. Shuck, and that one is gone. Another 3-run home run for the Red Sox. And 2 long balls this inning, and 4 runs without a batter retired for Buddy Boshears.
Well, Boshears had one of these outings a couple outings ago, back on the 21st against the Phillies here, where he pitched only 2/3 of an inning, gave up 5 runs. So he's matched that so far here this afternoon. Excuse me. It's 4 runs.
And the Red Sox have opened it up now 7-2. Marrero, his first plate appearance, he entered as a pinch runner for Bogaerts. One strike. And now a fastball on the outside corner. And a breaking ball drops over the outside corner. And out number 1. Boucher's last year got into 37 games. 36 innings, 37 strikeouts. The number's encouraging, but as you suggested, he's not had a particularly good camp. Sano swings over to the right side of the infield for Jackie Bradley Jr.'s at bat.
Well, Boucher's last year too had some elbow issues that put him on a disabled list for a little bit.
Twins used 29 different pitchers last year. 29. Now, on any given time, they've had 12 or 13 on the staff. So even if you allow for the 13, that's more than twice what your pitching staff was at any one time. They had, see, 2 times 13 would be 26.
Very good.
And then there'd be a few more after that.
That's twice today. You have been right on.
And it's a shame to waste this precision mathematically on a spring training game. 1-2. Fernando Abad, we know he won't pitch for the Twins this year. Andrew Albers won't. Chagua was sent down. Pat Dean, Casey Fiend, J.R. Graham no longer in the organization. Kevin Jepson no longer in the organization.
Pat Dean, I believe, did he not sign for an Asian, either Korea or Japan?
Could be. Sounds familiar. Tommy Malone not in the organization. Ricky Nolasco. Picked up by the second baseman Field and out number 2. And that will bring up Alex Murin. Nope. Marco Hernandez.
Hernandez. Hitting for Sandoval.
Two more hits for Sandoval in the game.
I have no idea why I keep these after a ball game.
You do? You saw what I do with them.
Yeah.
After the game the other night, rip them into tiny little pieces and throw them away.
Yeah, but see, I don't throw them away here. I take them home and shred them.
Like someone might pilfer your score sheet and
yeah.
Okay. You're right. Why do you do that? I mean, are you ever going to look at that score sheet again?
This one, no, never. I mean, until I get home when I put it in the shredder.
Okay. Well,
some people, I like shredding things.
Do you?
Yeah. Bills that are overdue, things like that.
Popped up to left field. J.B. Shuck is there now. And Boucher's ends up getting the 3 outs, but he gives up 2 home runs, including a 3-run bomb, and the Red Sox lead at 7-2. some damage late in the game, a couple of 3-run home runs, and they lead at 7-2.
Well, I think the positive was Kyle Gibson's outing. Outstanding 6 shutout innings. And Chris Sale for the Red Sox, 5 shutout innings. So both starters pitched outstanding.
Danny Santana will hit in the 3rd spot, previously occupied by Byron Buxton, who went 1 for 2 with a walk. Santana has played 6 different positions in spring training. The 3 outfield positions, 3rd, short, and 2nd. Foul back, and I think the hope is that of all the 6 positions that he's played, he will see time less in center field, where he's at right now, than any of the other positions. You can imagine against a tough lefty, perhaps there'd be a pinch hitter for Max Kepler or Eddie Rosario at some point. And you can imagine in the infield, Sano might be taken out for defense. Polanco perhaps for defense, although I don't know that Santana would be much of an upgrade. But I think the hope is that with Sano on deck, that Santana would be rarely used in center. If Byron Buxton's going to hit the way he did in September and the way he's done here in March, there's no reason to ever take him out. You're never going to pinch run for him, and you're not going to replace him for defensive purposes. So Santana strikes out here for the 1st out.
Yeah, Barnes picks up his 2nd strikeout. And, you know, Dick, I look at Santana. You see this athletic type of player that can play so many different places as a utility player. The only negative is what he just did right there. Strikes out. He has struck out a lot in his major league at-bats. If he could make better contact, you know, I think he'd be a very, very valuable asset to the Twins.
Here is Sano. Has yet to put a ball in play. 2 strikeouts and a walk. And he takes strike 1. At some point, the high volume of strikeouts will be a concern if they haven't been already for the Twins front office with Sano. But, you know, this is spring training here, and Sano's striking out half the time. Foul back, 0-2.
He's just a little tardy right now. And, you know, sometimes hitters at the end of spring training, they get a lot of at-bats, a lot of extra batting practice. And you're hoping he's one of these players that when that bell rings, that that bat speeds up and he's raring to go. But he is going to strike out a lot. That's his history, even in the minor leagues. But when he does make contact, and hopefully he can do that more consistently, it's been very productive.
Week from tomorrow, he'll be facing major league pitchers all the time. That's not the case down here, and he's still striking out a lot. 1-2. Breaking ball on the outside corner. That was a good pitch.
Same pitch that struck out Polanco to end the 7th inning. Barnes getting that breaking ball over, now has 3 straight strikeouts.
That's Ryan Presley like a nice big break to it, a sharp break.
Yeah, Barnes a big part of their bullpen last year. 62 relief appearances, 71 strikeouts in 66 2/3 innings, and over in his major league career about a strikeout an inning. He's picked up 3 already of the 4 batters he's faced.
Matt Haig drives it hard down the right field line, but twisting foul toward the Boston bullpen.
Haig last year played in Japan. Signed a minor league contract in December by the Twins. Has some major league time with the Pirates and the Toronto Blue Jays.
Off the plate, 2-1. When we hit the air Tuesday afternoon, I would imagine the roster would be set. So there'll be a lot of players moved out here in the next 24, 48 hours. For one thing, the team equipment truck is leaving Tuesday morning. And if the team's going to be opening at home and you want the right players with their right stuff being delivered home, then more practically, though, I think every manager and coach would like to have the team assembled by then. So you kind of know what you're going to be dealing with, and you can handle players appropriately for the final few games of Grapefruit League play. 3-1. And now a strike.
And for the players that are on the borderline, too, they want to know, hey, am I going to Rochester? What's going to happen to me? And if I make the ball club, hey, great, you know, and then I move forward. You don't want to wait till the last day.
No. 3-2. With 2 down. And at least Hank puts the ball in play. Another good inning for Barnes, and the Red Sox take a 7-2 lead to the ninth. What we had here up until the 7th inning was a good old-fashioned pitcher's duel.
Yeah, nothing after top of the 6th inning. Kyle Gibson, no walks, 4 strikeouts. Was outstanding. Only gave up 4 hits in the 6 shutout innings. Chris Sale matching those with 5 shutout innings, and a couple 3-run home runs for the Boston Red Sox have given them a 7-2 lead.
And a couple of 3-run home runs opening up the game, at least for the time being. Grand Casino's story of the game with the Red Sox right now comfortably ahead. Good to see Torrey Hunter back in uniform, back in the Twins dugout. Returning as a special spring training instructor.
Yeah, I'll be back in uniform again tomorrow morning.
Not that uniform.
No, not Torrey's.
Can you fit into Torrey's?
Maybe one leg.
On the outside corner, a strike.
Alex Wimmers, who worked here on Friday night, looking for what he was able to do Friday night. 1 shutout inning.
Given the struggles elsewhere, Wimmers, who did okay last year. 14 hits, 17 in the 3rd innings. The walk's a concern, but see down here just 1 walk in 4 innings. And if he can throw it over the plate, we saw the his changeup in college was a weapon, and it is still at the professional level.
But all keys off that fastball. You have to work ahead in the count. Get ahead with a fastball and work in that great changeup.
Off the handle of the bat, foul.
It looked like the changeup right there. What makes a good changeup, if it comes out of his hand, looks just like a fastball, and then the ball about 7-8 miles an hour slower. Wimmers with a very aggressive windup.
Fouled away, and that seems to be the optimum. If you can take 8 to 10 miles per hour off your fastball with your changeup, that's where I think pitchers like to have it. And then you think back, 10 years ago when the Twins had Johan Santana. And Santana would throw 93, 94 miles per hour with his fastball, and his changeup was 20 miles per hour less. And that's why he got so many foolish-looking swings and misses.
Well, Frank Viola, Brad Ratke, Twins have had some great pitchers that have great changeups. Wimmer's a guy that does a good job of getting to the balance point, and you talk about explosion toward home plate, utilizing that pitcher. Look at that right there.
Grounder to short.
That's where you look at a pitcher. Is he giving you all he's got? And Wimmer's one of those guys that shows that he does. Gonzalez playing short, makes the play.
One down in the ninth inning. And now Lynn will hit for the second time. Lined out to left his first time up. That fastball clocked at 93. So if you have command and confidence in a changeup and you can throw 93 and control that, well, now you've got something to work with.
Yeah, heading the count right now, 0-2 on a couple fastballs. Last one at 93, like the first one. Now you can go to your breaking ball, you can go to changeup, or you can throw another fastball. See what he does here. Fastball up. At 93.
One and two.
That curveball just missing.
Lynn took it and is lucky to still have his at bat.
Lynn out of Taiwan.
And
good changeup there.
Changeup got him. And Wimmers gets a strikeout.
And you can see what that did to Lynn right there. Way out front.
It seems to be the type of pitch. I mean, Wimmers really isn't a secret anymore. Teams have scouted him when he was in high school and college and professionally, so they know that he's got a changeup. But if hitters know that they might get a changeup and they still swing and miss at it, well, then that's encouraging. Chopper to short.
Good inning.
Wimmers has a quick 1-2-3 top of the ninth. Ben Taylor warming up for the Boston Red Sox. Not a save situation, but he's going to try to pitch a clean ninth inning like Alex Wimmers did. Taylor coming into the game for the 9th time. Dozen strikeouts. And Ben Paulson will be the first guy that he faces. Paulson, we may have mentioned the other night, born in Wisconsin, about an hour outside of Green Bay, but grew up down in Atlanta. And he'll be followed by Max Kepler. And then Rodriguez. Strike one. And a ball, 1-1.
Paulson, 29 years old. Some playing time with the Rockies. Signed a minor league contract with the Twins back in December.
Big swing and a miss. Paulson very aggressive at the plate. Can hit the ball long ways. And the count 2-2. James Rowson on the right, Twins hitting coach. Fastball gets him, one away. And they'll bring up Kepler. Kepler 0 for 3. A ground ball, a foul out, and a strikeout. Kepler hasn't had the best of springs, and that might be explained why he's one of the few regulars to get a 4th at bat here.
Yeah, he and Sano are the only two left in the lineup that started the ball game.
Strike on the outside corner. Popped up, backing out of play. 0-2. Up and away. For the balance of spring training, Twins will go up to Bradenton tomorrow.
Yeah, another night game tomorrow, I believe, right?
And that's the one you said you were going to go to, right? Since you have some...
Well, I have to come here. I have to be in uniform here.
Okay, Kepler waits and fouls it back. Then they're home here with the Rays. We'll be televising Tuesday afternoon. I mean, we mean back home, it's right afternoon. Noon, we're going to hit the air, and boom, there's baseball. Then they play at JetBlue against the Red Sox. And then up in Port Charlotte against the Rays again. And then close out the exhibition schedule here against their AAA roster, the Rochester Red Wings. Then away we go to Minnesota. Get the season started a week from tomorrow. Kepler takes a called third strike, second time that the home plate umpire Jeremy Reback has called Kepler out on strikes. 2 down.
That looked like a good fastball inner half of the plate that Kepler took.
And now Rodriguez, last hope for the Twins. Big swing and a miss. Chris Jimenez started. Did a nice job behind the plate. Went 0 for 2 with a walk. Just missed the outside corner with a crisp fastball. Clocked at 96.
I talked a little bit about Rodriguez the other night, a journeyman minor leaguer, 12 years in the minor leagues, a little bit of playing time with the Padres back in 2012. That's it. That's a lot of bus rides.
And given the position he plays, you never know when you'll get your chance. I don't think anyone thought that Juan Centeno would play much, if at all, for the Twins last year, and he did. Half swing, did he go? And the home plate umpire said he did. The game ends with a check swing strikeout, and Taylor strikes out the side. The sound you hear in the background is me tearing my score sheet.
So the cup is in the Red Sox favor now.
Right now, 3-2. And the Red Sox win handily here.
Big game in about 3 days.
Yep. We'll come back to wrap things up for Fort Myers in a moment.